Hello, Keith here with Math, Fun, and Games. Today we are doing MBT by GMT Games. We're doing scenario 3. I modified my setup for the Americans because the last time we played this, the Soviets ran right over them. And I also adjusted the module, the vassal module. So it's kind of a custom module for me. And I want this to be a 35 because that fits the screen perfectly. Well, almost. Okay. Line it up. Line her up. Okay. So if you've been following, you know the scenario. Right? This time what I did differently, I got everybody in really good defensive terrain. This unit right here, they're in heavy cover. This unit right here, that Bradley, that got knocked out very early before I had it in the shrub over here. But now I have it in woods. These units I have then this building over here, they're going to try to get full cover inside those buildings by going into the brick and the stone buildings. I already set up, I put my Bradleys over here in heavy cover in the woods, and two of them are starting hull down. I'm also going to try to get the other two hull down before the Ruskies come. And down here, so what I have, let me do the let me pull up the overview window. Here is the overview window. Okay. And let's move in. Okay, so right here, you see that one unit right there? That's the only unit that's spawning forward. And that has a pretty good spawning range. That's really not a big issue because that unit right there has a fairly decent spawning range. Can I actually do? No, I can't. Okay. So let's close the overview window and let's take a look at the spawning range for that unit. Back. And back. Okay. Well, let's take a look at what it can see in its line of sight. I want to move the unit. I want to move. Close that. There we go. So let's start this. So this is everything it can see, all the way up to that. Those hexes, that hex, that hex. So it actually has a really good, well, it kind of can. Its limit line of sight stops right here actually, because those like trees right there block it, and this section of trees block it, but it can see this area right here. So it can see if Russian units are entering from up here. The only way it wouldn't catch Russian units and see Russian units would be there's, and it could see if, of course, if they come from this direction. If the Russian units come into the town and they're very careful, they might not be detected, but the Russians are coming with a lot of tanks and that, so that's all I need right there. Now meanwhile I move the rest of the recon sections back here into these heavy woods, better defensive terrain, and that is it. Now the Russians are going to enter the same as last time. All the Americans are on Overwatch. The Russians are going to, I have to see what the Russians are going to do this time. Remember, the Russians have a command span of 6 hexes. Also, I'm using the morale rules. I've added the morale rules. I'm using almost all of the rules right now, all of the optional rules. I'm using the morale rules and a couple other ones. I'm gonna go over the rules I'm using right now. And when I do my short form YouTube video, I recommend you watch those because these are the long form videos where I talk. Let's see. MBT. So I'm using morale, I'm doing disrupted communications, I'm using button up crew exposed turrets, and I'm using fire priority. So briefly, fire priority means that you can only fire a unit that's, you have to fire at the unit that's closest to you, because that's of most concern, unless another unit is firing at that same unit. That's fire priority. Button up and crew exposed turrets. If you're buttoned up, there's -1 row shift on your spawning attempts. If you're crew exposed, I believe any turret hit becomes a automatic turret damaged. Disrupted communication. Every turn we check for disrupted communication. We roll, both sides roll a dice. NATO has a modifier. If the difference between the dice are 50 or more, I believe, yeah, then whoever is the lower, less the lower of those two, has to roll to see if they have disrupted communications. If they have disrupted communications, they lose half their orders. And morale, each unit can only lose a certain number of units, and then it breaks. All right, the unit really, when that starts, has to take a ton of morale checks, and a lot of bad things happen to it. So I'm going to go a little bit slowly. And as always, we do the spotting phase. There's nobody to spot. I'm going to pull up the table right here, player A card. And you will notice as we go along, I made some modifications to the vassal module. So it's kind of a vassal module homebrew that I think will make it a lot more enjoyable to be watching videos. Spotting phase. So now we go to the disrupted communications step. And I'm going to take my time over here. This is the first time I've ever done it. And again, this is the reason I put these videos on Patreon, because YouTube doesn't like it when people only watch a tiny bit of the videos on YouTube. So I put it on Patreon. That way people can watch on Patreon and have the short form on YouTube. All right, so let's open up the MBT rules, and let's go to disrupted communications here. Page 70 in the living rule book. All right. And okay. So let me read. The modern battlefield presents a challenge to many communications networks. If any number of forces create an environment that has the potential to disrupt communications between command elements and their subordinate units, reducing their overall effectiveness. The scenarios indicate if the potential exists for disrupting communication. Typically, it affects both forces in the scenario, NATO and Soviet, although it may be stipulated that just one force is subject to disrupted communications. There are 3 condition levels that reflect the probability of disrupted communication: slight, moderate, and intense. They are listed in the disrupted communication table on card B. We're on card B. Let's find the disrupted communication table. And I see it. It's right there, lower left. Let me make it a little bit easier to see. Put it center of the screen for you. Make this small. I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. Okay. One moment, por favor. One moment, please. I'm going to put disrupted communications front and center. Okay, so there you see the disrupted communication. Now the conditions are slight. All right, and it isn't even in the scenario to have disrupted communications, but I figure add it and make things a little bit more interesting. One thing you notice, if a unit has units out of command span, it's minus 20 to their dice roll for this. So let's go back to the rules and read the rules. As the first step of the command phase, both forces roll 100, applying their force grade modifiers. So we're going to do that right now. And we do disrupted communication step. Oops. All right. NATO roll and TO roll is whoa. 1 plus 20 force. All right, that would be, well, it's not really going to have a lot of effect this time because NATO, everybody's in Overwatch, and it's not really going to be that big a deal. So Soviets roll 80. So Soviet 80, NATO 21. All right. So in order to have disrupted communications, there needs to be a difference of 60. So NATO just missed having their communications disrupted. Right, so NATO just missed having their communications disrupted. I'll move that down a bit. All right. Go up there. Okay. All right, so that's it for the disrupted communication step. Now, we go over here, and we have determine available commands step. For the first turn only, ignore the commands step. All NATO units are Overwatch. All Soviet units have move commands. Okay, so that was easy. We don't have to do that. We don't have to do the place command steps. Now we check the initiative. All right. Whoops. Oh. Show the phase. NATO 48. Oops. Plus 20 force grade modifier equals 68. And Soviet 1. NATO has initiative. Okay. But NATO doesn't have their only NATO units on the board, so obviously there's no air phase, no air units, so no first air phase. No air units, so no first air phase. Combat phase. There is no combat. on to movement phase. All right. Movement phase. So it's the close assault hand-to-hand combat step. So there will be no close assault hand to combat. Right. Makes sense, I guess. And now we have movement and an overrun combat step. So Soviets are going to move as all NATO units are on Overwatch. All right. So the first set of units that are going to be entering are going to be one platoon of these tanks right here. Let's zoom in and see what's going on here. And let's put up the overview board. Let's move this over that way. Okay, so put it that way. Let's move it back, right over. Oops, down. Oops, up. There we go. Okay, so we have these units right here in the upper corner. And they're going to be entering. Now, the question I have is, let's see. So they all have to be within 1 hex of each other. So I want the board shifted this way. There we go. That wasn't a bad shift, actually. That's overshift. Let's see. Trying to get the board to the ideal position to show you the move while I keep the overview window on. There we go. Okay, so now I can also move it down here. There we go. So we have these 3 units on the upper right here. They're going to be moving. I still haven't decided yet. Am I going to use the main road? Am I going to do a southern route, or am I going to do a northern route? They each have their advantages and disadvantages. Since I did the southern route, I'm going to do the northern route. So I'm going to go up north of the main road. I'm going to go north of the main road. So I'm going to move, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shell holds. Do shell holds. Let's look for shell holds. Shell holds cause track vehicles 2 movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And his companions are going to be falling right alongside of him, right here. Right? Excellent. So we have units right up here. Right. Next group, we have another tank platoon right here. And that tank platoon is going to try to go over this big hill over here. So let's move over and let's bring these guys on right here. And over there. Okay. So I'm just going to move the lead tank here. And then I'm going to bring the others on. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. Let me turn off the overview window. Okay, so let's see if that unit is spotted. I want to do a spot check on those units. So I'm going to move those units on the board. And we're going to do a spot check. All right. Okay, so let's pull back. And we have our spotting unit right here. All right, the 3rd platoon, recon. I should put recon on that. Just remind me it's a recon unit. Let's draw the line. Range is 14. All right, range of 14, 15. So we're going to do spot checks for all of these units. All right. So we're going to go with the spotting. Okay. Excellent. So I'm going over here using the spotting chart. Now I look at the spotting ranges. First we have to check. Vehicular unit. Light cover, no. Medium cover, no. Any cover, no. Spot move, column shift up 2. Anything else? Full cover spotting, -4. Recon spotting, +1. So this is what we have right here. Spotting row shifts. Spot move, +2. Full cover spotting, -4. Recon spotting, -1. So the net, actually recon spotting, correction, recon spotting +1. So the net is going to be, it's down, 4 + 3 is the net's going to be a -1. Row shift on spotting range chart. All right, so that's a range of 10. All right. The maximum spotting range is 10 hexes. So all those vehicles will remain unspotted. Recon section have 2. Able to spot at long range, at longer distances. All right. So everything the Soviets are going to bring on are going to be unspotted. 1, 2. All right. So we're going to continue the Soviet move. We went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right turn. 6, 7. And I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop there. Okay, so now this is the recon vehicle, right? Bringing on the recon vehicle. The recon vehicle is ground-based radar. First 2 tank platoons. Board. Next up is the recon vehicle. The recon vehicle is what? It is a BRM-1. BR 1. All right, we want to be careful. This guy's important. He has the ground-based radar. Okay. So he can automatically spot vehicles up to 70 hexes, no matter what kind of cover, and leg and towed units up to 20 hexes. So 1, 2, 3. What's this movement? 4, 5, 3. He's going to stop right there. Now, spot check. Let's pull back. All right, so I want to check. Using ground-based radar to spot unit in G3. Okay. All right, because the other units to excessive range. All right. All right, so I think that's going to be, well, let's continue this. I'm going to continue a little bit further. I can have 20, the Soviets can bring on 20 units. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14. So I can bring on the headquarters unit. All right. And I'm going to bring on the headquarters unit next. All right. Okay. So the headquarters platoon enters. Okay, so let's rotate them. I'm just going to move the lead unit first. Let's go start with, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are all armored here. Oh. And then here. They're all going to be together. Matter of fact, all the headquarters units are going to be together in the same hex. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. All right. Next up is, next we are bringing mechanized infantry platoon on. Okay. And here we go. Load them up. Go. Oop. Get them on board. Get them on board. Get on board. Get on board. All right. So that's what we got over here. We have 3 BMP-2s. One BMP-2 has a heavy mechanized rifle squad with an RPG 22. Another BMP has a mechanized rifle with an RPG 22. And the final BMP has a mechanized rifle with a Saxon anti-tank guided missile, and an RPG-22. I'm about to bring them on board. These are all tracked vehicles so far. The only vehicles that I have that aren't tracked are going to be the vehicles that the engineers use. 1, 2, 3, 3. I want to leave them back there. All right, let's take a look now. Remember when I said for the moment this is spotted right here, so I just have to mark it spotted. Some of the changes I made to the module aren't showing up yet. So I'll just have to mark it spot fire. Okay, we'll work on it. It'll be a little bit better next time, a little bit better after that, a little bit better after that. Oh yeah, that's why, because I didn't change the infantry. I only changed the values for the vehicles. So the way the vehicles operate are going to be a little bit different, but the way the infantry operates is going to be the same. All right, let's see if we got anything else going on over here. Okay. Let's go over here. Excuse me. End of movement phase. Okay, so that's the movement phase. On to second air phase. No air units. Going on adjustment. All right, so we're going on to the adjustment phase. All right, pivot step. Adjust turret. Yes. Good old adjust. Now everybody is crew exposed. Okay. So do I want to adjust turrets over here? Yes. So I'm going to have to get some turrets out and place them. All right, let's grab some turrets. Let's get 3 Soviet turrets. 2, 3 Soviet turrets. I'm going to rotate those suckers. Then I'm going to place them. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think we got all directions covered now. Right. Excellent. All right. Okay, so that's the adjust turret step. Next. Okay. Next is the adjust full cover step. Just full cover. And I have American units down here. These right here are going to drop full cover. Because if they're in full cover, they're severely handicapped in spotting. So my recon units are dropping full cover right now. Except for the unit that's back in the village, they're going to be. NATO units. NATO recon units drop full cover. NATO recon units drop full cover. Excellent. All right. And what other steps we got here? No suppressions, no morale. Okay, that's it. So no, oops. Suppression adjustments. Morale adjustments. What else we got? Suppression, morale, and removed and turn. And that's it. Okay, so that's going to be turn 1. Thank you for watching this great video. I want everybody to have a wonderful day, and I